So today is day 2 of the plan for surgery. That shit hurts. I'm nervous, but I'm also eager to get my life back. Tomorrow is the actual surgery, the gamma knife. They're gonna shoot a large beam of radiation into this nerve to disconnect it from the bridge that connects it to my brain. And that should be it. I'm tired. I'm tired of being in pain. I'm tired of running around. I'm tired of not being able to talk or eat or sleep. I'm just praying this is the last of it. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. If you thought I was gonna go under and wake up in the hospital without a haircut, or my brows being done, or my beard being dyed, y'all don't know me. Found a great barber here in Casablanca. He did the damn thing. Get into that surgery table. I can't wait. Night before, 0 hour. See you tomorrow.
Take 2. Today was the big day. I just left the hospital. Surgery was a success. I am more lethal than you can imagine. It's been a long journey, man. The pain that I was going through for the past few months and over the past 10 years has been nothing short of unbearable. I did feel an immediate change in my pain when I got off the table. It's been about an hour since I've been out of surgery, and just sitting here and having something to eat and being still, I can feel a huge difference. I can see it in the way that I talk. I have a lot of people to thank for this, for being by my side and holding space and listening to me cry. God, I cried. I don't care who do it. I cried. There were nights I couldn't sleep. And I mean, couldn't sleep. You don't know what that does to your body. You're very grateful, man. I'm very grateful. I'm very excited to get back to life, get back to work, and get back to living a quality of life that makes sense. Thank God. Thank everybody that's been there before me. More to come.
Welcome back, everybody. It's your girl, Amanda Lockhart Davis, host of Life Uncensored, navigating adulthood one episode at a time. And I am so glad that you are here with me today on this great topic with a friend of the show and a friend of mine, Mr. Rasheed Hamid. Today, we're going to hit a very, very important topic that is near and dear to Rasheed's heart, and very frankly mine. Like, he told me some stuff, and I think that you guys are going to want to hear it. Our episode title today is From Breakdown to Breakthrough. We're going to talk about some health challenges that my friend went through while still running a business. You know, life goes on even when we don't feel like going on, and he is a testament to that. Rasheed is a DC native, but he is coming to us live from Morocco because my man, he gets on the plane, okay? So without further ado, I want you guys to make sure that you turn up, get your wine, get your tea, your coffee, your hot cocoa, whatever it is. Call your friends, your neighbors, your countrymen. Tell them to tune in as well as we welcome Mr. Rasheed to the stage.
Hey, friend, you know I like a plane. That's
You do.
You, friend. Well, I'm happy to be back on Life Uncensored. Happy to be here with you always. This is a blessing.
I'm so glad to see you. I am glad to see that smile. You know, that's one of my favorite things about you is that smile.
It's been a while. I'm glad to be able to show it to you.
Absolutely. And that's why I want to just jump right into it. You know, you went through some stuff and it was a long journey. And I could not even imagine what you had to deal with and just the toll that it could take on you mentally, physically, emotionally, all the things. So we're just going to just jump right into it. Tell us your
Sure.
story.
I want to start by saying it's an ongoing story. The disorder that I have has no cure, but I am currently pain-free. I also want to emphasize I am not a medical expert. I can only tell people about my experience. See your neurologist, see your doctor, see your PCP as regularly as possible. But my story started 10 years ago in DC. I had an ingrown wisdom tooth, and it needed to come out. It was killing me. And I was in between jobs. Anybody who knows me knows that I ended up at BLT Steak in DC, and I had just started. I didn't have insurance. So when I got that tooth pulled, I went to Howard University Hospital. It was so far impacted that he told me he was going to have to break the tooth and scoop it out like ice cream. And in doing so, he hit the main nerve in your face, the trigeminal nerve, tri for three. We all have one on both sides of our face. And it caused a disorder called trigeminal neuralgia. And it is one of the most painful neurological disorders that a human being can go through. I have, I don't want to tell the whole story, but I went a year misdiagnosed, running around DC to dentist and orthodontist, because you can't describe this pain other than intense and sharp, electric, fire, stabbing. It could last 1 second, it could last 30 seconds, it could last a night. Some people really suffer with long-term shocks to the face. And I knew that what they were trying to say that I had was dry socket from pulling the tooth. And I've had dry socket as a kid. Dry socket is when they pull that tooth and you don't give it a chance to close the gum, and maybe you sip out of a straw, or for smokers, maybe you smoke a cigarette and that healing pops open because the gum isn't completely. And so they kept thinking it was that. And I was like, this is not dry socket. And finally, thankful to women, it was a elder Black woman that I went to go see on Florida Avenue in DC. And she said, baby, go see a neurologist. There's nothing wrong with your teeth. Your teeth are fine. Your teeth are perfect. Your gums are perfect. And I never thought that it was nerve related. And
so this particular woman that you saw, this was like a dentist or what?
Yeah, I had a list of dentists. I probably saw 15 to 20 dentists in 2 weeks because it was affecting me sleep. I couldn't work at the restaurant. I was running restaurants. How can I come up and say, how's your $100 steak if I can't talk? You can't talk, you can't eat, you can't drink, you can't sleep, because you never know when it's going to affect you. And the pain is usually here, depending on where it's triggered from.
Okay.
And it can go anywhere because it can hit any of these three branches. And there's no rhyme or reason, and everybody's pain is different. And so, yeah, the older Black woman, she told me without even opening my mouth. I mean, she looked in, put the thing in a little, she was like, yeah, this ain't dental. And I was going to dentists and orthodontists and all these specialists. Then another woman saved me when I went to the first neurologist, a young Indian woman. I described the pain. We talked for about 4 minutes. And she said, you have trigeminal neuralgia. And I'm not, I ain't a liar and I ain't afraid to cry. I just burst into tears because it finally had a name. And I knew I wasn't crazy. I was finally diagnosed with something. And I didn't know what it meant, but it meant to me that people know what it is, and now we can start doing something to fix it, because it was life altering. Yeah, I can keep going and get you back to Morocco because it's just been rectified. I'm 30 days pain free, 30 plus days, and I'm 10 weeks post surgery here in Morocco, and I've had the surgery here. I've had 2 surgeries here, as a matter of fact.
So let's pause there for a second.
Yeah.
Let's pause there. You had seen double digits of dentists.
Sure.
And no one was able to say, this ain't dental. It took that one person that finally said, no, baby, no. What were other dentists saying to you?
For the record, she said it just like that. What other dentists say? They were telling me that the wisdom tooth that was pulled, the space that they pulled it from, maybe it was infected. I have another impacted wisdom tooth that hasn't breached on this side, and they were saying maybe the teeth were shifting from this tooth, they
Over.
were barely taking it serious. I mean, I remember going into some offices and having a conversation at the receptionist desk, and the orthodontist or the dental surgeon would come out and go, "Oh yeah, let me look," and I would just look in there, and go, "I don't see anything, man. Maybe you go see somebody else, get another opinion." At most times, I wouldn't make it into the chair.
Oh, well, all
Yeah, it was
right.
Yeah, it was wild, wild. And this wasn't about having insurance. It wasn't about a financial thing. I could have paid out of pocket. I had the money. I was working at a great job, and my insurance was in the process of kicking in. So I wasn't diagnosed yet with anything. It was a blind eye. It was absolutely a blind eye
Mm,
for a disorder that only point 30% of the world's population get. It's
mm,
so, and there are two ways to get it. For women, it can be a natural occurrence, typically after the age of 50. Part of the reason I wanted to talk to you, and me and you have been talking this whole time while I've been going through this, is because I think we are so close to, that next stage in life. We're so close to that number that, this thing can happen naturally, especially in women, that we had to talk about it. It didn't make sense not to
yes,
talk about it, because I would hate for somebody to go through what I went through and not have an answer. The other
yes,
way that you can get it is trauma. If it's something traumatic, you're a boxer, you get hit in the face, a tooth comes out, a tooth gets pulled out. And so it became pretty frustrating when, and I appreciate the love, but it became pretty frustrating when friends, family, colleagues were like, "So how's your tooth doing? Is your tooth getting better?" And there was nothing wrong with my tooth. But I think part of the doctors and dentists' dismissal was nerve pain is invisible. You can't
yes,
see it. I'm
yes.
not wearing a cast. It's not bleeding. And so when you can't see pain, you don't understand the level of pain that I'm in. And
Mm-hmm,
if there was a 1 to 10, I was at 20. I was
mm-hmm,
at 20.
mm-hmm. No, and thank you for saying it that way because um, for anybody who's listening who, you know, deals with chronic pain, right? People don't understand that you can be perfectly fine right now and
Yeah.
20 seconds from now, not. And how long it lasts is up to the gods. Like there is no, oh, give me, I just need 30 seconds. No, there isn't. You don't know how long it's going to last. It comes out of nowhere. And we're talking about chronic pain, something that is a term that people are familiar with. So when
Mm-hmm.
you talk about, like you said, this condition where it's not that well known. You don't hear it all the time. And the pain that you were in, there were times that we would be talking and your eyes would literally, Rasheed, your eyes would gloss over.
Yep.
And I knew something was about to happen. And then you just be like, and it just being on the outside looking in, and then being not to baby you, but being a mom and being a boy mom, not being able to do something right then and there
Right.
for you was breaking me. It was horrible. So yeah, those times that I would just be like, hey, just checking in. I didn't want to be like, how you doing? Right? But just checking in and let you tell me, right? I don't know if you noticed that that's how I was communicating with
Yeah.
you. I didn't want to be like, so how you feeling? I did,
Oh, for sure.
you know what I mean?
Absolutely do that. You know what?
But yeah,
You
that's
you touched
crazy.
on two things. We started talking. We started talking about the pain, but you said two things that is really significant to part of this show. I think the purpose that you wanted to have us talk about this. You said you're a boy mom and what you would do if your son was in that kind of pain.
Hmm.
Um, Having lost my mom very unexpectedly 8 years now, um, and being in another country, your mom is your biggest cheerleader, your biggest advocate. And I'm running around to these doctors in another country trying to explain this, trying to make sure they understand my previous history from 10 years ago to how can they help me now. And you want your mom.
Hmm.
You want your mom. And you said something else about seeing it as a friend, as a working colleague as well. You were able to see it when I could talk no for 1 minute and then
Hmm. Hmm.
it's literally that. And I'm
Yeah.
incapacitated. I can't talk. For a long time, I was just doing meetings with camera off. And one of the things that is worth mentioning in the healing is the embarrassment, the ego blow. You don't want people to see you like that. You don't want people to feel empty for you. I'm trying to close a deal. I'm in business. I don't want you to think I'm playing empty. I'm with my kids, But it was really bad, and it was a bit embarrassing. No strangers that I was trying to work with saw that side of me. But what was I going to do? Not work?
Right, right. And that's just it. Like, life goes on regardless of what we're going through. Right? Bills, though, I can't call up the mortgage company to be like, I don't feel good today. So, like, it just doesn't work that way. So, you had to fight through that for a long time at that.
Yeah.
So,
No.
talk a little bit about
Your
the
audio.
climax, the peak. Uh-oh, did I lose you?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the question, Amanda. Your
Oh, I'm
audio cut
sorry.
in and out and just cut out.
Okay, can you hear me now? Are you good?
There you
Okay, so let's talk about the climax of this whole thing, the peak. Like, when it got to it's worse, 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 worse. What was going on with you?
So I've had two peaks here in Marrakesh, hence the two surgeries that I've had to have. February 14th last year, I underwent a surgery to place a very microscopic ball and inside of my face between the nerves and my skull, and it's called compression. Yeah, it's called compression therapy. And so they take this ball, it's made out of Teflon, and they put it in the face between the nerve that is damaged and misfiring and the bed of good nerves. And that is one of the three surgeries that I've known about and have had access to. And I got it, and it was a success. But one thing I should tell people who don't know about this disorder is that there is no cure, unfortunately. There is no current cure, but there is a possibility to live long stretches of pain-free quality life. And after I had that surgery, I went a full year, more than a year. If it was February 14th, that was the peak and the solution. And then I had another peak this year in 2025 that it was another tooth. I had the tooth that was next to the wisdom tooth that had to come out. I
Oh my
had the
gosh.
molar next to that, and it had to come out. And it was my fear came to life. That molar was sitting on the nerve bed that was damaged, and all I could think was they have to take it out. But when they take it out, they're going to reignite this nerve. They're going to wake up this pain. And it was 100% true. They
My
took that
gosh.
nerve out early summer, late spring in 2025. And as soon as they took it out, the pain was like it was 10 years ago. So I immediately went straight back to my same neurologist, Dr. Mehdi. Shout out to Dr. Mehdi. I don't know his last name. I just call him by his first name. And he said, you're going to have to get the radiation. You're going to have to get the radiation treatment, and you're going to have to get it fast, because if the pain came back this strong, then it's only going to continue to get stronger. It's not going to get lighter. And so we moved pretty quickly. And one of the things that I want to say about living abroad and having to choose whether or not I get a serious surgery here in this country or go home. I had a lot of people who were concerned, like, you gonna get it there? You trust the doctor? You trust the hospitals over there? There is a misconception that I live in the desert. I live in a city. Marrakesh is a metropolis city that's thriving and is continuing to grow, and I love it here. Come to find out, the hospital I had the first surgery at was top rated, and they had some of the best technology on the continent. And the surgery that I needed for the second round, the radiation surgery, it's only served in Casablanca, which is about a 2.5-hour train ride from me. But when I got to that hospital, it was like checking into a hotel. Like everything was moving smoothly. And then the last thing I'll say is, how many of my friends and family back in the States, how many of y'all have doctors named John Smith? Everybody's doctor back home is Dr. Muhammad, Dr. this, Dr. Ishmael, Dr. Aziz. So your doctors came from here. They just made their way over there. We're doing the same thing.
Right.
But the radiation treatment was the last round, and they take this huge machine, and it's a lot of prep for it. You got to get multiple CAT scans, multiple MRIs, because what they're trying to do is map out precisely where the nerve is. And remember, the trigeminal nerve in our face it's 3 branches, right? Hence, these are all the locations where pain can strike. I've had it behind the eye, my nose, in my ear, in both of my gums, top and bottom, my lips, my tongue. But this specific hospital and this specific machinery, it takes a large quantity of radiation and it pushes it down through like a funnel. And then they map it on your face. You don't go to sleep. There's no pain. They map on your face where the nerve is connecting to your brain. It's literal brain surgery. And they don't affect the brain, but in all of us, we have a nerve that's connected to the brain by a bridge. Their goal is to fry the bridge and kill the bridge. And then it takes, once that bridge dies, it takes time for the nerve to die. I told you I'm 10 weeks post-surgery. And the fact that I've had 30 days of no pain is a huge deal. A lot of people don't see this kind of result so soon. But those were the 2 spikes and 2 big turns being here. And I'm just thankful, man, because I'm thankful. You can't imagine what it feels like to live with this thing.
So let me ask you, with this last spike, we'll call it, how long did it last? And at what point did you say, it's either this thing or it's me, and it ain't gonna be me?
Yeah, I didn't say that right away.
Okay.
In full honesty, there were dark days. There were dark days here. It didn't take long for me to know that I had to do something. One of the earliest treatments that I had was in 2016, right before I moved to Anguilla in the Caribbean, and shortly before Mom passed. The first treatment I had was injections of, I always get the word wrong. I told you the other day what it was.
Cortisol?
The injections of cortisol. I always get them confused. But they basically put you to sleep, they prop your mouth open, and they go in there and start injecting the cortisol directly into the nerve. So in my jaw, they're going into the nerve through my jaw. And they just follow the line of the main branch, and they're basically numbing it. That procedure can last up to 8 to 10 years. And it lasted 8 years. When I moved to Marrakesh, it was 8 years later, and the pain came back. So that's when I had the ball put in, and then the tooth happened, and I had to take that out, and then the pain came back. And so when the pain came back, it was probably a 2-month prep between me and Dr. Mehdi and the actual surgeon who did the radiation blast. In all seriousness, though, I don't want to leave this show without expressing how dark this thing can get.
Yes.
It's very important to me on my own personal journey of healing, on the history of this disorder. You know, this disorder used to have a nickname before they gave it a name in the 1800s. It was called the suicide disorder. And it was coined that because of the women who were suffering from it. Remember, you can't see it. You look fine and everything's going okay. And you come in there in excruciating pain, and doctors not having the surgical equipment or having the visual equipment or the testing abilities to go, what's wrong? They treated women like they were going crazy. They put several women in mental homes. They tried electroshock therapy. And it got so bad that people would start cutting their faces open in an attempt to take the nerve out. People would start bashing their face with bricks and rocks in an attempt to put the pain at ease, and inadvertently kill themselves. And until they discovered what the trigeminal nerve was. And it is that bad because I'm close enough with you and I want to impact people that hard that I will tell you, I was ready to write the letter. I was ready to leave the note. It was that bad. And so if I could help one person who is struggling with it, or just showed up in your face one day, or you got a tooth pulled and now you don't know what's happening, if I could help one person, that's the goal of this conversation.
Yes, yes, yes. You know, I think what you're saying is important for multiple reasons. Number one, when people have a toothache, they ready to take somebody out of here. Just a basic toothache that you can get some Ambisol, you know what I mean, from the CVS or whatever
Mhm.
drugstore or whatever. So what you're talking, where nerves are impacted, that is a whole different ball game. Especially like you said, which again important, you can't see it. It doesn't show up in a lump
Right.
or bruise or bleeding or whatever. You can't see it. All you can do is, and then you can barely explain it. Because I know at the beginning of you explaining it to me, I would ask a lot of questions. And I know I was getting on your nerves because I was really trying to,
No.
the empath in me really wanted to get into the understanding of what and
Sure.
how and why and all the things. So the fact that another thing that you would talk to me about during this journey was, this wasn't, oh, let me go pop a ibuprofen, let me go grab me an Advil, let me go grab me some Aleve, and bada boom bada bang, I'm fine, at least for a little while. There was no relief, no compress, hot or cold, no massaging, no medicine. There was no relief. So talk about that part of it, because I think that that's also important, that you're going through this without any relief.
No. Um, Thank you for reminding me of that too, because I think a lot of people just misinformed, uneducated about it. Remember, 0.30% of the world have it. So you would have to be in that 0.30 or have someone in your family or close circle to even know what this is. So it's not unsympathetic for somebody to say, let's get you some codeine, let's get you some Tylenol extra strength, because when we think about pain, we don't separate how pain works. Pain is in your muscle, it's in bones, it's in top layer of flesh. You can take a pill for that, but your nerve, there's not a pill that you can take that will go deep enough to affect a nerve, right? So what they typically prescribe people is gabapentin, which is a seizure medication. And there's several different lines of that same medication that basically do the same thing. They help suppress the nerve to keep it from seizing. And this is the closest equivalent that you could come to. And that's the closest pill that you could come to. Seizure medication is strong. It's strong.
Yes.
It will change your day. It will change your day. You had a plan. You don't have a plan no more.
Mhm.
And I think that the perfect segue from that question would be to talk about how that incurable pain leads, or led me specifically, to the loneliness of this. There's a huge loneliness in this with pain in general. And this goes to all my people who suffer with chronic disorders, chronic disease. With pain comes loneliness. You could be in a room full of loved ones, but you're the one suffering, and nobody knows what it feels like. And that is an isolating feeling. It's a very isolating feeling. Imagine being in that level of pain and you can't say it. You can't even talk about it, because to open your mouth to talk, the wind blows, it could affect the nerve. Cold water, hot water, food. You could be mid-chew. There were days I couldn't eat. Don't talk about sleep. Sleep is what brought me to my knees, because when you wake up with that kind of shocking pain out of a natural sleep, you will be on your knees in that bed praying to God, just let me get some sleep. Just let me get 2 more hours. Please. So now you're in pain, you're drugged up on meds, you're suffering from these side effects, brain fog. I would reverse sentences, I would get sentences twisted up, which made me feel, we're intelligent people, but to not have access to that part of myself, it was very challenging. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
It was difficult. And you go back to that loneliness, lonely place.
Yeah. And you saying that, so it's no secret on this show that I deal with chronic back pain, and I've never not known what it
Yeah.
feels to be in pain, like constantly. The only difference is some days are just worse than others. That's the only way to really put it. And this has been going on for me since I was about 3 or 4. Like I remember that age. Tell my mom my back hurts, and she's like, "Well, did you fall? Did you hit you? What you?" It was years before somebody was able to say, "Oh, you have spinal stenosis and this, and blah blah blah." And I'm talking, I was an adult when I finally, found out. But
Right.
what you're talking about, the loneliness of it, because people just don't understand. Like it was years for me that I thought that everybody felt like this. Like I didn't, to me, it was what everybody goes through. Um, that loneliness, being in that
How'd you
room,
know?
watching people and everybody having a good time, blah blah, and you're putting on the face if you can, but because you don't want to bring down the room, but you are suffering. And I'm just talking about that. What you are describing, Rasheed, my issue ain't got jack on what you're describing. I can maybe soothe it with, a strong drug. And see, I've become so, um, my body absorbs medicine in a different way. So Vicodin, Percocet, all that stuff, it's like popping M&Ms to me. But at least there's something that might dull the pain a little bit. You know what I mean? What you're describing, not even that. So
For
I
sure.
can't imagine. I can't even fathom the thought. And what people really need to understand is, yeah, I've been on the phone with you, or maybe we're sending, WhatsApp messages to each other, and you telling me I am struggling today, friend. It is not a good day. So that coupled with you are thousands and thousands of miles away from people who really love you. No, it's not no. I'm running over to Rasheed's real quick. I'll be back in a couple hours. There is no. How did you deal with that? Like, what got you through that? The mental and emotional side of that. What got you through?
Short answer, prayer. I'll never default prayer. I'll never take away from the strength of God. That's number one, because you're stripped of everything else. There's nothing like if you have faith, if you have any kind of belief, you have to run to it and you have to lean on it. And it's one of those moments, if you are a religious person, it's one of those moments where it's like, pray to me, I answer prayers. You've tried everything else, Jack. You should have tried me. And that might sound hocus pocus to some people, but again, this is my story, my pain, my journey, and my healing. But I think about it, talking about it, educating my closest circle of people, my family and friends. But more than anything, I was striving to exist in my company too. I didn't want to let that go.
Yeah.
And I had to let everyone in. And I have a small team. I have 4 of us on the executive level, myself, Katie, the COO, Orlando, our social media expert, and then Michael, who is our IT guy and workshop guy, workflow guy. I had to let them all in. I had to, one by one, in group calls, I had to let everybody in. This is what it's like. This is how hard it is. I'm 15 pills a day. I need at least 3 naps, y'all. I need 3 naps. And I can't be on camera. And we have to go day by day. And Orlando would send me scripts. He would send me whole scripts. Can you do a voiceover? I gotta get you to do something. Can you just stand there and record yourself, and I'll make an avatar. I'll do an AI avatar. We schedule calls at night, my time, 10, 11 o'clock at night after my workday. And I would text them, be like, oh, it's no pain. It's no pain right now. Let's go. Let's go. Let's hop on a call. Hop on a call. Halfway through, I couldn't talk no more. And we would get nothing. We would get nothing. I had to let them in because they had to know how to help me. She was on maternity leave. My closest, my number 2, she's on maternity leave. And so I had to lean on my 2 guys. And then Katie came back to organize chaos. You know, we kept the business running. We gave her 90 days. We kept everything running smoothly. But she came back to me out of mission. Katie's been with me, and she's remembered the February 14th episode. She's remembered the pain as I was coming from Atlanta to here. So she had a very good understanding, but you feel like a substitute teacher in your own company until you figure out the game plan. And the smartest and best decision that I've ever made was to let them in, because you have to, at some point, you got to ask for help, whether it's disorder, another chronic pain thing, how strong you are. You have to ask for help. I wouldn't have made it. We're in December now. We would have been closed if I just kept trying to do it by myself. We would have closed with nobody guiding the ship. And then you see, you see how strong you are. You see how strong your team is. You hopefully see how well we all mesh and why it works, why the choices were so well, everybody works so well together. Because, you know, Katie went away to baby, and which is no small feat. Katie is my number 2 for a reason. She's 1.5. You know, she's my 1.5 person. But the fellas, a lot, you know, Mike had just joined the team, and transparency was key. I could have sat on these calls and acted like everything was good and bravado and macho. That wouldn't have got shit accomplished.
Absolutely. I want to say, you know, as you were talking, I'm thinking about Rasheed, the entrepreneur, you know, and all the entrepreneurs out here who they are the one-man show or 2 or 3-man show, and one person going down can sorely affect what's going on. But what about those W-2 employees who's, you know, maybe they do have short-term, long-term disability, but maybe they don't. Maybe they don't have the insurance, the funds to pay for surgeries, the doctor's visits, blah, 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 blah. I want to ask you, based on what you went through, what advice would you give to that W-2 employee who's like, oh, but I can't take that much time off. I don't have enough sick time. I don't have enough PTO. I don't have short-term disability. Or what do you, or I can't live on short-term disability, you know, what they'll pay me on short-term. What do you say to that person going through this exact same situation as you?
It's not great news. It's not great news. The first thing that I would say is get as many. I'm assuming you mean in a scenario where they are diagnosed with something.
Yes.
If they're undiagnosed, my thoughts would be get a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Like you can't stop if your doctor don't know. And if your doctor's best friend don't know, you can't just stop. It's you. This is my face, my pain, my life. It's me. And I couldn't just stop. I went to 12 goofy dentists to try to figure out what was wrong. And they always like, oh. And I was walking down Florida Avenue, Northeast DC, and I saw this, and there was a sign over the basement doors that said dentist downstairs. It wasn't even on my list of dentists to visit. And it was that older Black woman that it was the last dentist. It's always the last, right? It was her who said, baby, ain't nothing wrong with your teeth. You need to go see a neurologist. My advice to that person would be educate yourself about your chronic disease as much as you can. If you have insurance, ride it as hard as you can, especially in these days. Take advantage of every Facebook groups about trigeminal neuralgia with people who were suffering spring, and there were many. There was one with 10,000 followers, one with 25, 12,000 followers, and you feel not so isolated. And that's a place, that's a community where you can start getting answers, where you can throw questions out. Hey, they're trying to give me this pill. How did it affect you guys? Now, everybody is different, but
Sure.
you're not going to have a lot of people in your family and close circle that know what this is. So the first thing I would say is get around people who know how to navigate life with this. My second piece of advice, if you're a praying person, pray. And lastly, I would start entertaining and educating myself on what life could look like in a remote working situation.
Mm.
There is no way I would have gone. Can you imagine the review of 4 or 5-star restaurant, suited, booted? There is no way I could have existed in that lifestyle. It's
Yeah.
not a possible. So I can't run a restaurant from home.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Look at your options for working from home and remote working, because it is scary. It is bleak. That's just the truth. And I'm sorry to say it that way, but it's scary. And I didn't have a lot of resources or people. My dad has been by my side through everything and willing to do whatever I needed to be done. So are my friends. So are people like you. But it goes back to that loneliness. Sometimes you don't even know how to ask for help. I was telling you the other day, it's also the little things. You say you're in a crowd of people, friends, and people talking, and you got the perfectly timed joke, the antidote, boom, and you sitting there like this. Say that the waitress is coming by. Do anybody want anything else to drink? Anybody want anything? You're like, you go, oh, give me a second. Can I get a, that becomes life. That becomes normal. And you don't consider what that does to your psyche. You feel weak. You feel handicapped. And until I accepted that I was and started asking for help, it's a handicap. I needed to ask for help. I couldn't do this by myself.
Yes. Yeah.
And I
Even
don't want to discount. I have a
mundane.
community. Yeah, the mundane things. I do have a community here. So it wasn't completely about missing all my friends and family at home. You know, they did what they could do. Like you said, we're 6,000 miles away. But I did manage to build a small community here. But people can only do what they can do. Can't nobody climb in there and fix this thing, take the pain away. They can sit with you.
Yeah. Yeah. When do you feel like, or do you even know, what was that turning point? You know, after this surgery, you said 10 weeks out of surgery.
Do I know what?
Do you know what that turning point day was? That time, like, oh, wait a minute, I feel a change. Change is coming. Like, when did that happen? Do you know? Can you pinpoint it?
Yeah, I do. Because before that, it was everyday pain, and it might be lessened. Again, prior to the surgery, I was already on medication, 15 pills a day. And then after the surgery, same 15 pills a day to monitor and maintain. And then, you know, you get a chart. You get the information of what to expect. Weeks 1 to 3, weeks 4 to 6. So you start to understand where your healing progress could be. I wouldn't say should be, because everybody is different, and you have other underlying effects, disease disorders that could affect your healing for this, right? But I knew the biggest thing for me was to lower the number of pills. I am not one big on pills. I knew that when 6 to 8 weeks came, I was going to be in that dude's office waiting for him to park in the parking lot, waiting. That was going to be a big point for me. But prior to that, on my little chart was after 3 to 4 weeks of the surgery, the nerve slowly begins to die, and you will have 1 to 2 days of no pain. And I was like, okay, I started looking for that. My joint started so fast because it went from 1 to 2 days of no pain to what I didn't expect, 1 to 2 days in a row. I didn't expect pain-free days back to back. I was like, oh, they done messed up. Give me my Instagram account. Get it back. I got something to say. Like, you just feel like you woke up again and you come back to life. And then it was 6 to 8 days, no pain. I was like, oh, shucks, y'all done woke up the kid. It's over. Y'all woke him up. And now I'm 30 plus days pain free. You even think when you're younger, situations like this, you don't think that this kind of thing happens or what happened to you. But we only get this one. And, to the point of your back pain, my mom used to say there are 3 things. She had all sons. There are 3 things you got to take care of: your teeth, your back, your feet. It'll tear you up in the long run.
So true. No, that is very true. And I went through a a stint of going to different doctors, neurologists, all the stuff, right? They had given me this shot, kind of like an epidural, that they're like, yes, and this lasts 6 months and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, that joint lasted 2 weeks for me because my body absorbs medicine in a very, very, very different way. And I was so disappointed. So when they were like, well, you can come back after 6 months because it's still in your body, it's just not working. I was like, I've been dealing with this pain this long, like years and years and years and years. I'm good. Like, what's the point? You know what I mean? I just feel like I'm being teased. I feel like I'm being teased. So I say that to say, like, what you're talking about in terms of that 2 days, and then it was 2 back-to-back days, and then a little more. Are there ever any times where muscle memory at this point kicks in and you feel like, it's about to happen, but then it doesn't? Man.
Oh, God. I don't know if you saw that smile. That smile was what it feels like. That smile is what it felt like and has continued to feel like. I'm just thankful and steadfast in my prayer because it could go away. The surgery I had 10 years ago, it went away when I got here. It lasted its term. And I think another thing that you and I talked about that was pretty shocking. It doesn't matter that it's just an injection. It's still major surgery because when I got the first one, I actually wasn't true 6 months. It wasn't long enough for me to even move to Anguilla. I was still in packing mode. I couldn't make it to the Caribbean yet. So when it came back, I remember looking at my mom. She was like, get your doctor on the phone. Let's find out what the next option is. And he said, honestly, you know what? I should have accounted, you're a thick dude, you're a big guy. He said, I should have accounted for your size, but I didn't want to overdo it. He said, I'm going to double the dosage. You can come back for another round, but this will be the last round that you can get, like, in life. And I couldn't understand what he meant by that. And I was probably just in too much pain to care. He probably did explain it and I lost it. Who knows? But when I came here and the pain came back 4 years ago, the first neurologist, my guy, Mehdi, I asked him, I said, I don't need a surgery. I don't need brain radiation. I don't need a metal ball in my head. I don't need all that. Just give me the shot because I'll be good for another 8 to 10 years, like the last time. He said, Rasheed, you can only get 2 of those. And if this radiation deal doesn't work, you can only get 2 of these. I said, well, why I can't get the shot? It just was so easy. It did have a major side effect. My entire right side of my face was numb for one eyeball, one ear, one half of my top and bottom lip, one half of my tongue, one half of my chin. Couldn't feel it. That was better than feeling it. Are you kidding me? And the reason that they won't give you another one, they won't give you another one is I've aged out. I know I'm a little older than you. I'm 47. And if it were to last again for another 8 to 10 years, it would put me in my late 50s, approaching 60 years. It would put me in my late 50s, approaching 60. The pain is so extreme. And they've had so many cases of people getting that therapy and then it wearing off in their 50s, late 50s, that when the pain comes back, it gives them a heart attack and they drop dead.
Oh my God.
It gives them a widowmaker heart attack. They just can't handle it. Their body can't handle it. And they just check out. I said, oh, well, you got it. Sound like you know what you're talking about. Let's move on to radiation.
That part, you got it.
I can imagine trying to sleep. You got it. I'm not trying to hype this thing up. I'm not gonna gaslight a disorder. This is real. This is real pain. Imagine every time that strike, that impact hits, it feels like electricity, and the electricity is on fire, and the fire is made out of needles. Now you comfortable, you at your most relaxed state, you're at home watching TV, you're in bed going to sleep, locks up. Your hands, your feet, your back, your shoulders go straight up, and you just hold that thing and ride it out until it's over. Imagine trying to do that multiple times in a day at 60.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No,
My
thank
advice
you.
to people is get checked, choose with recommendations. Women, look, if it occurs naturally in women, talk to your doctor about it. Trigeminal neuralgia. I know Amanda gonna put it in the thing so y'all can see it and Google it and look it up. It's horrible, man, and nobody talks about it because it's so rare.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to pivot back just for a quick minute back to extra hands and all that. Like you said, you had to be transparent. You had to trust your team to, you know, pull weight that you couldn't pull at the time.
Mm.
What was that like for you mentally? Because, and I say this, I hate to make this a man woman thing or black white thing or anything like that, but let's just call a spade a spade. We all are different for different reasons, race, sex, all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a man who has globe-trotted, who has literally seen the world, who is used to running his own show,
Yeah.
having to give over those reins because you just couldn't do it anymore. What did that do to your mental? I want to talk specifically about that.
um, First of all, I'm my mother's son, and she was a worker, and she was very smart, and she owned several businesses in her short life. And I got that from her. Secondly, I'm a Scorpio. So I don't like being told no. I don't deal well with the answer no. Um, yeah, when I came here with the mentality of nobody says no to Rasheed. Nobody says no to Rasheed. We'll figure it out. Or you are the wrong person to be talking to. Let me move on to whoever's above you. Nobody says no. But when your body says no, what are you going to do? It felt incapacitating.
Mm.
It felt, um, again, it felt handicapping. And it was scary. It was a scary place because you don't know how long it's going to last. You don't know if the surgeries are going to work. There was a chance it wouldn't work. There was literally a chance it wouldn't work. And in the first 3 weeks, you're monitoring it to see if this thing works.
Mhm.
Um, of course, I thought about what it would look like to close this thing. Um, what would I do for income if I had to close? My mental it was in a very shaken place. And that's for multiple reasons. And everything that we've talked about today, you can't forget 15 pills a day. You can't forget every one of those pills has a side effect. You can't forget that there were days when you couldn't eat. There were days when you couldn't talk. There were days when you couldn't sleep. You can't forget about that and the business. The question that you're asking is how did my mind deal with what was happening? But what was happening was still happening, right? And so that doesn't go away long enough for me to make a rational thought about what I was feeling.
Mm.
One of the pills that they put you on is an antidepressant because all of these meds may cause this, may cause that. And at the end of the sentence, may cause depression, right? And so, as if I'm not depressed already, it may cause more depression. Good luck. Good
My
luck with that.
gosh. My
And
gosh. Mm.
found out the hard way that any one of these pills, if you miss a dose, you're taking them 3 hours apart, 4 hours apart. If you miss a dose, the withdrawal is like heroin. It's like a heroin withdrawal. You get the shakes, you got cold sweats, you got headaches behind your eyeball, you get dizzy. I couldn't walk unless I was holding the wall. People have no idea, man. People have no idea. I don't want to glorify the past because it's past and I'm living in the future. But what was going on in my mind? Try not to write the letter and jump off the balcony today.
Mm. Mm.
That was many days. That was the thought process. If you could get through today,
Mm-hmm.
try not to write a letter and jump off the balcony.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I'm looking at it now, and I remember a day, pen and paper. And I'm sorry to my family, my friends who are going to see this and hear this for the first time. It's the first time I'm saying it out loud. But I have a roommate here who's been, one of my very good friends and concierge like buddy, helped me learn the city, helped me learn the Marrakesh ways. And I remember thinking what that would do to a friend if he came home, went in his room, knocked on my door, and opened my door. Like, where's this boy at? Looking around, and it's a letter somewhere. Like, what would that do to him? Well, I guess he would have saw me at the sidewalk before he came upstairs. But
Mm.
those were real thoughts. Those were real everyday thoughts. Not every day,
Mm-hmm.
but many a dark day.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
that's important that people know that because um, it should, I hope that it would trigger you to check on that friend, that strong friend, a little more often because they're dealing with it, right? And you don't know what it's like, and you don't know what that bad day is going to look like for them. And I hope that it would also trigger someone watching this who's going through chronic pain or going through this particular disorder or any other will remember that there is light at the end of the tunnel. You gotta get to it.
Mm-hmm.
You just gotta get to it.
Yeah.
There's so many
Yeah.
times that we are wrapped in our own crap for whatever reason, and not saying it's wrong or right, just we're wrapped in our own crap that you forget that oh Rasheed out there struggling with this disorder that he's dealing with. Let me check real quick. Or you know what, I'll text him in a couple of minutes, and then a couple of minutes becomes, oh shoot, I forgot. It's so easy. So as soon as you have that thought, pick up the phone, send that text, whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is, and reach out because that might be the difference between what you said, writing that letter or not for that
That's right.
person. You know what I mean? And then on the flip side of it, that might be picking up that phone when you're having that thought. I'm having a rough moment. I need just talk to me for a while or whatever the thing is, because that might be that one thing that stops the letter from being written as well. That's really deep. And I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate you sharing that because that's some deep shit. That's and that ain't nothing to play with.
Some deep shit, and it's real. I saw something on social media, probably Instagram, not too long ago, and a couple of my male friends had already seen it um, and were sharing it. God bless you. I had never
Okay.
seen it or heard this quote before, and it said, "For most people who have contemplated suicide, 8 minutes is the average time it takes to spend with somebody to get them to reconsider, or at least start trying to get help. 8 minutes." And so all my boys, Abdez, my brother Hakeem, Abdel, Brad over in Thailand, Badir here, like all of my boys, Tony, we've all made an agreement. Text 8 minutes. Just text 8 minutes. And we'll stop. We'll stop everything we're doing. We'll pick up the phone and we'll figure it out together. That kind of camaraderie, while I knew that it was there, it had not been defined during my
Mm,
time of pain.
okay.
And so you didn't know that you could do that. We hadn't talked about it. It didn't exist yet. But I think subconsciously we all knew we had each other's backs that way. But
Of
when you
course.
put it into such simplistic terms, 8 minutes, I need you.
Yes.
You got 8 minutes for me? I
Yes.
love having that. I love having that. Um, I love having that. And I'll say this too on that note about community. I have an amazing community here, Black specific community that has been, a lifeline. But friends have shown up in ways that we weren't even that close before this. The pain has brought friendships closer. And
Mm,
I love that. I got people who will check in every day, and that's a new norm. And I'm like, oh, I'm good. I ain't in no pain. What's going on? Okay, cool. Man, I ain't want nothing. Just check. And I love that because it's not superficial. It may have started because of the pain, but the extension of it now is this rekindling of friendships, right? And to be so far across the ocean, to be able to know that I pick up the phone and talk to certain people on an everyday basis. I'm really thinking about my sister Jamila, to just be able to talk to people and know that it, the pain might have brought us closer, might have brought us back together, but look what we got out of it. You know, you're
Yeah.
healing, you are loving yourself differently. At 47, I just had a birthday. I missed 2025. I missed it. This pain took it from me. And that's okay because I've been sitting with it and asking, thanks to a local elder here who I've been spending some time with, what did it teach you? Hopefully, anything we go through should be teaching us something. What has it taught you? And that's a question that I'll be answering forever. It's not a one-day answer. I'm convinced of that. But when I thought about it, some of the immediate answers were it taught me that I was stronger than I ever thought I was. I'm a strong dude. I don't know anybody in my circle that could go through that for as long. This has been a 10-year ride, bro.
Mm, mm, mm,
I'm a
mm.
strong fighter like shit. Period. I will fight. And I didn't know that about myself to this degree. And I know it now. Hence why I started boxing. I know it now. And it's teaching me multiple things: patience, um, to be quiet more. When I couldn't talk, I had no choice to be quiet more, to
Mhm.
be conscious of what I'm eating and what food I'm putting in my mouth, to enjoy the ability to speak at all. It made me have a serious appreciation and empathy for deaf people or mute people. And I don't think I would have ever thought about them in a different way until I was stripped of the ability to talk freely when I want to answer, when I want to say something, and that's taken from me. You don't know what happens. You don't know, things
Mm,
change you like shit.
mm, 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 mm. I, I'm glad you said that because that literally was going to be my final question to you was what have you learned through this about yourself and just in general. So you know, as usual, we're right in sync with each other.
Of
Um,
course,
so I listen, we can talk about this thing all day long, but
I could.
I guess we
You know that.
shouldn't. So I
I do
will.
want to add to that what did I learn.
Yes,
I
please.
want to say this because I need help. And I'm putting it out there into the world, into the universe, into all the viewers who are listening. That 1% of 1% of 1% who might have somebody who's doing this. I have learned that my life is more than about just making money. And I've never been, other than in my mosque and in my close circle, I'm all about charity. Everybody knows if I got it, I'll help you out. But on a bigger, larger scale, I am so interested in finding out how to push the research for a cure for this thing. How can I be involved in helping spread information about this thing? How can I tell a story to somebody who has no hope, who's standing on the balcony? How can I reach that person? And in 2026, that's going to be a big personal goal of mine outside of what I do at work. I love what I do at work. I love it. And that's my passion. That's my baby. But I want I want a humane project as well. I want balance. I want to be able to give something selflessly because as you said, I could talk about this all day. Literally. It don't mean nothing to me. I could do it all day. But to what end? The end goal for me is to be heard by somebody who is holding their face in
Hmm.
pain.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that'll be great. Yeah. So whoever's out there listening, watching, please drop us a line if you know or if you're running something. I don't conferences, speaking engagements, what have you. Um,
Mhm.
if you know if there's already something out there that just needs some more legs, some more hands, some more voices, please reach out. I've got the disorder, the name of the disorder scrolling at the bottom of the screen right now. Please reach out. because we do want to get the awareness out there. This is no different than, getting the awareness out about Parkinson's disease, different types of cancers, and so on and so forth. Uh, the more you know, the better, right? So we want to help Rasheed
Yeah.
reach his 2026 goal in any way we can. So if you know of someone, if you are someone, please, please, please reach out, so that we can push this thing and get some more light shed on it. Um,
Yeah.
Rasheed,
Thank you.
I am going to ask
Yes.
you what's next for Rasheed. I want to say, let me say this first, and you're gonna laugh at me, but I don't care. Uh, I had my annual girls trip in November,
Yeah.
and we went to Fiji. So I'm fresh back from Fiji, y'all. My body's still in Fiji. My mind is still like, what you mean back from Fiji? Why you still ain't there? But I want you to know how happy my heart was to come back and hear this good report from you. And you're like, I'm doing good. I'm X days pain free. That was just pivotal for me. Like it, because again, as that boy mom, that protector in me, that want to make sure everybody's okay in me, was very concerned. Like, when is he going to get relief? And I would pray, God, please just give him some relief, even if it's just one day, just give him a little bit of relief, because it was just so painful to watch from the outside, you know.
Mhm.
And so I want to say, so coming back, and then we talking about our smart TV. That has
Ah,
filled
God.
my heart. Okay. And I wanted to say that publicly. I know I've said it to you, but I wanted to say it publicly also. Just getting back to a sense of normalcy and seeing that smile
Mhm.
and not the pain in the eyes behind the smile,
Mm.
that does my heart good. That does my heart good. So with that, I want to end with just asking you, what is next for Rasheed? Even if it's extra hands related, what's next for Rasheed?
Um, I'm in a space now where I'm trying to be conscious of what I say. Remember, the pain was in my mouth. So I'm being conscious of food. I'm being conscious of words. I'm being conscious of patience. Um, and I misspoke in saying that this disorder took last year for me. It didn't take last year. I was learning, through the pain, I was learning. So what is next for me personally next year is to apply some of those things in my business and in my personal life. Patience, being more quiet, listening more, right? You think you're good at something until you find out you could be better at it. So that's big on personal. We got a lot of things coming up with work. Um, me launching an academy, an online academy to turn people into virtual assistants. What I've watched from this side of the planet going on over that side, there's going to be a lot of people looking for new gigs, secondary gigs, and people are looking for work abroad. People want to live and work abroad. And I think people think becoming a virtual assistant is super easy, but not in the world that we live in now when we've got tech and AI changing everything. And if you
Mm,
don't know how to do it and you're 50 plus years old and you're 60 plus years old, or you're a government layoff employee, or you're furloughed, or the government is shut down, or whatever it is, options look bleak. But what if you had an opportunity to still learn a skill at whatever
mm.
age you are, at whatever education level you are? And that skill set could give you the opportunity to live free. I've been dreaming about this. I can't wait to launch that. And what I miss the most about this year as it ends is my ability to travel. I can't wait to get on a plane again. I'm ready.
Yeah, my baby loves him some planes.
Very much so. I'm so happy that you gave this an opportunity. I'm so happy that this came about very naturally. This was so cool.
I'm really glad that you
Thank
were
you.
willing to talk about it, because this was a journey. And listen, it's still a journey, right? You're just on the other side of the painful part of the journey. I pray that it is literally long gone, and in your past and in your rearview mirror. I just appreciate you sharing and always being transparent and open
Thank
and
you.
honest. I
Yeah. To a fault
most
sometimes.
certainly, well, well, um, I I just want to say, before I let you go, that this is not the last time that we will speak on this. I am going to put it out into the atmosphere that next year we'll be having conversations about how you are on the road, metaphorically and literally, to be on these speaking engagements and on that journey of helping with research and all the things. We are going to be talking about this again on this platform next year, 2026. I'm calling it out.
That's exciting. All right, cool. I love that. That's very exciting. Oh man, it's so good to be back to this person. I missed me.
Yes. That smile is just lightening up my day. I just love it. I love it. All right, Mr. Rasheed, I am going to close out this show. I'm going to ask you to give me just a few moments. If you are watching, extrahandsva.com is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Check out the website. You might be that person that he's talking about coming into this academy. You might be the person who needs the services. Make sure you check out the website, see what's going on with Extra Hands VAs, and see how Rasheed and his team of great people who held it down for him, how they can help you out. All right. Rasheed, thank you so much again. And until we meet next time, my friend.
Thanks, Amanda.
All right. That was a great conversation, and I'm so glad that we were able to share this topic with this audience.
This was not a scheduled post. Forgive the noise. Forgive my jumping face. Sorry. Some days I open up my camera to record, and it's just like, what am I doing? You know, the world feels like it's on fire. It is on fire in a lot of places. War, right? Grief, chaos in the headlines. Systems are falling apart. Systems are being dismantled on purpose, failing. And I'm supposed to hop on here and do a reel, right? That's my schedule today. Record a reel. Feels weird, feels fake sometimes. But I guess what I'm learning also is that showing up regardless, imperfect, aware, human, showing up still matters. Because the truth is, the world doesn't pause for us to get our businesses together. That's not going to happen.
I want to make sure that you all are aware that this is something that is very near and dear to Rasheed's heart. And as he said, he has a goal of getting out the word, finding a cure, and being an advocate for it. So make sure that you're staying tuned and keeping up with Rasheed and all that he has going on so that you can be a part of the change. All right. So in the meantime, make sure that you follow, like, share, subscribe, Life Uncensored. We are on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell everybody. Okay. And in the meantime, I want to end the show with our quote of the day, which is quite fitting, especially with what my friend Rasheed described to us. And that quote comes from Winston Churchill. If you're going through hell, keep going. I think that's exactly what Rasheed described today. Make sure that you stay hydrated, stay well, and do something kind for someone. You never know. You might change the world. Until next time. Life Uncensored, navigating adulthood one episode at a time. We're available on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. You can also check us out on our website, life-uncensored.com. Come on over and see what you've been missing.